We were actually working with what was available at the time. We kind of cast a wide net within the spiderweb network of NASA facilities and also the National Archives network. And in casting that net, what came back several months into the project was this discovery of these large format reels. And through a series of testing the footage, we quickly discovered how not only historically important they were, but just the quality in which they were kept was just unsurpassed. They literally had not been touched in 50 years. So of course we felt a very big responsibility because it became not only a film but also an archival preservation project. What we were set out to do was just to rescan all of the available 16 and 35 millimeter film that was in existence. But to do that, we really had to launch into a research phase to see exactly how much material was out there, and that's when this was discovered. When you shoot large format, you need big teams to do it. And when you start getting into, because there just wasn't the footage, we had over 11,000 hours of mission control audio. So when you listen to all these various flight controllers working 24/7 on just not Apollo 11, but all the Apollo missions and all the programs that predate Apollo, you realize just what a gargantuan, just Herculean effort it was. Hundreds of thousands of people all in unison to do this monumental achievement to put the first man on the moon. Yeah, I mean, our film highlights specifically Apollo 11, but it's important to note before Apollo 11, NASA only had about a 48% success rate of sending manned and unmanned missions to the moon. There was rockets, the Atlas rocket was constantly blowing up on the pad. Astronauts lost their lives in the Apollo 1 fire. Other astronauts in training missions. It wasn't a flawless game to get to Apollo 11. There was many hardships and bumps along the way. Just from a project management standpoint, it's probably the greatest project management project that's ever been made. We're just humbled and honored that we have a chance to share it with audiences. Actually getting into the backstories, we don't dwell on it in the film, but you read their autobiographies, you go through their pictures, you talk to them, you talk to their family members. Buzz Aldrin, and Neil Armstrong were pilots in Korea. Buzz shot down a MiG and then pulled out a camera and got still photographs of the pilot ejecting. Neil himself saw a lot of his comrades die on the USS Randolph. And you realize just everything that happened in their lives were leading up to this one moment. The Apollo 11 mission had been covered enough. We all knew, basically what happens. But also, there was a public affairs officer. There was in mission control. He sat fairly close to the flight director in the back. And he was kind of our narrator. He was, it was almost having, Bob Costas say, do a football game. He was giving you a blow-by-blow of what was happening in very layman's terms, so someone like me or the audience could understand. Certainly, I'm just a fan of direct cinema experiences, putting audiences right there with events that are happening, and this was just a way to do that.